everyone to the Personal Brand Accelerator program. We're going to talk about really the who, what, when, where, how of personal branding. Personal branding in many ways is an ongoing process, right? Because you are practicing, you're developing, you're manifesting yourself over time as you grow and develop as a person within your career. Today, we're transitioning from the personal branding fundamentals to now building your personal branding foundation, right? You can't position yourself for opportunity unless you understand your motivations and what is your capacity. Now, at the very beginning, you should always be experimenting with your brand and engaging with the world, just trying to find out, okay, what experiments do you need to run to see where you need to be. There are a million different ways to make money with your personal brand, but you either got to do what is your biggest strength right now, right? Or you do where the most resources are available. A lot of people, when they're trying to monetize their personal brand, they focus on bucket 4 and 5. Right? Where they're working with people to get speaking engagements, contracts. You're doing a lot of external activities to get that clout from the community to pay you for certain works. A lot of times people confuse marketing and sales to be the same thing, right? This is the reason why a lot of people, they have a personal brand. Let's say they got as far as they create a free or paid product like a course or a retreat or a session, and they're putting it out there. They're quote unquote marketing it. They're promoting it. They're blasting it, but they're not monetizing. They're not making money. And part of the reason why is because they did not combine their marketing strategy with their sales strategy. But I could give you all the systems all day long, but it's up to you to turn it into a routine. And that does require checklists. It does require you really having the discipline to execute on that routine. So much has happened over the past couple of weeks. You have learned so much from start to finish. The best way I could end this is by saying that, look, like a lot of people wait their entire life to try to figure this out. You have the unique opportunity where you have this content for life, right? You have this journey for life where you are now given a blueprint to constantly keep upping your brand, keep accelerating your career, keep creating value, and also creating multiple streams of income for yourself, in addition to any of the fundamental work that you do. All right, welcome back everyone. Hopefully that video was able to give you a window into the Personal Brand Accelerator program and all the work that we do with our cohort once a year and helping them to accelerate and monetize their personal brand in this digital space. So I am so happy to be here with all of you for the Personal Brand Profit Launch. This is the one place on the internet for you to learn how to turn your reputation into reliable revenue from someone who has been doing it for years. So I'm so excited to invite you back to day 2 of today's live series. Now, part 1, I wanted to take a little bit of a step back because part 1 yesterday, we kicked off the conversation. We're talking about how do you actually turn your reputation into revenue and identifying your secret sauce. And we started with first making sure that we were all in the right alignment of understanding about the state of the world and how it will affect your strategy going in when it comes to building your personal brand. I've said this many times before. This is not going to be a cookie cutter conversation regarding personal branding. A lot of people, when it comes to personal branding, they know it's very crucial. They know it's very instrumental to really building and scaling their career. But a lot of the advice on the internet by gurus, by experts and consultants is very generic. Network, do articles, connect with influencers. I mean, very, very basic generic advice. Yesterday, I kicked off with 10 high-level trends that are really disrupting how people are able to monetize and really build their personal brands online. We talked about how expertise is now a commodity, how you need to stand out and not really depend on your resume to really state your credentials. People need to see. Seeing is believing now. You can't just state the credentials that you have because people have recognized you can have all the degrees in the world and still be stupid. I'm sorry. Just let's get to the point, right? So you got to show people that that you are what you mean and you know what you say you know. People have to see that, and which means that you have to really be driven by a mission to share that knowledge and expertise, and not just want to tell people you have it, but you are driven by the subject matter that you are working on to be able to help others to be able to get to that finish line that you have personally have finish lined yourself, right? And obviously, we also talked about the fact that trust is now instantaneously built online. You cannot be incognito. You cannot just tap out of the social infrastructure that has been built on the internet right now. You do have to build a digital profile. And that digital profile, I think we're now in an era where our digital profiles are a lot more powerful than our everyday reality. It's sad to say this, but that is the current state of the economy and the current state of society as we speak. With that said, where do you even begin to build that digital presence? It's actually not at your website. I shared with you yesterday that LinkedIn, they played the long-term game. LinkedIn is actually the first stop of where you need to really build your personal brand and take it very systemically. Now, seriously, not only because it has a really very powerful SEO engine. If someone is looking for your expertise, they could be able to find you immediately on LinkedIn with the right keywords. But also too is because people are overwhelmed and overstimulated, and a platform like LinkedIn standardizes the content and information that people need to find to make decisions for their everyday purchases, everyday contracts, everyday type of programming that they need to do. People are able to make decisions immediately by just looking through LinkedIn, as opposed to going sporadically all across the internet. I'm not saying a website is not important. I'm just saying that LinkedIn needs to be a priority at the most paramount across all your social media profiles. LinkedIn has to be an anchor part. And I'm putting it out there right now. Like, I know there are people who will comment on the DMs and say, well, what about Instagram? What about Facebook? What about Twitter? What about trends? What about, TikTok? All of which are great. What about Pinterest? All of these platforms are really great visibility markets for you to find your audience. But there's nothing like LinkedIn to not only be able to get the visibility, get the credibility, standardize your message and your brand on the internet, and be able to DM B2C, B2B, and B2G, and all of the above. You are able to connect with institutional networks and individual networks straight through LinkedIn. So there's really no debate when it comes to LinkedIn. And then we culminate in our conversation about, the real power is being very time sensitive about the work that you do. If you really are expert and really are passionate about the work that you do, you are always on top of your game. So that way people will follow you and recognize that strategy is very time sensitive in this fast paced environment that we are all living in. Know that they need to follow you and engage with you almost every single day. So they could be able to tap into not only your greatness, but also your insights, your strategy, your perspective. We see so many influencers right now who are doing very well because they are able to provide time sensitive information, like what I'm doing right now. I just digested probably like 5 years of trends and information in about 5 minutes for you. So that way you don't have to figure it out on your own. I am giving it to you on a silver platter just because I've been able to leverage this expertise and awareness, not only for my personal brand, but all the people that I work with across my summits, across my events, across my multiple companies that's within my portfolio of businesses that I've been able to build and scale over the past decade. I'm able to have a breadth of experience and knowledge and pass that wisdom on to you, so you do not have to make the same mistakes. You're able to accelerate, you're able to surpass any expectation because you have that thought leadership in the palm of your hand. Then we transition to really taking action. Now that we are aware of the state of the economy and the state of the market, we're like now diving right into the fundamental items of personal branding, as not just the typical, again, advice that, you need to know who you want to connect with. You need to know your audience. You want to, we went straight back to the heart of it, which is first and foremost, create a value statement to attract an audience. Don't walk into rooms anymore and say, hi, my name is Christina Tim. I'm the CEO of the Global Startup Ecosystem. What will resonate even more powerful than that is, hi, my name is Christina Tim, and I help entrepreneurs build and create the next most disruptive companies that will impact the world. Are you interested in working with my organization? That resonates with a lot of people because Obviously, for the entrepreneurs who need support, they will come to us. And for the stakeholders who are all about empowering the next generation of entrepreneurs, they want to work with us. You see how it resonates differently when I go from title and me-centric information to service-related conversation in my value statement. And I share with you the template to be able to do that, which is a simple one-line sentence. I shared with you guys yesterday. Simplicity is what's going to make you scale your personal brand, not complexity. Don't overthink it. I'm not going to give you multiple things to think about, multiple things to tap into. I keep it very simple. You just need one line. I help who to do what because of why. Right. And for me, I gave you a tangible example of what I shout to the mountaintops all the time. I help women entrepreneurs to monetize their brands to create a flexible, fulfilled lifestyle. Very simple. And I was my first customer because I'm an entrepreneur who was looking for other influencers to teach blueprint strategies about how to monetize their brands and how to monetize digital businesses. I couldn't find that seamlessly on the market. A lot of people giving, excuse my French, bullshit advice on the internet. And I was tired. I was frustrated. So I started to figure it out myself, being the entrepreneurial, crazy person that I am. And as I got really good at trial and error and really building and scaling my brand to what it is today, which is an international brand, I was able to show other people the same blueprint and do the same. So this is my calling, to help people pretty much monetize their expertise and bring their greatness to the masses every single day. That is me. That's what I do. And now you know who I serve and why I serve them. Keep in mind, just because this is my target audience, that doesn't mean people who are, male and male entrepreneurs or corporate professionals or B2B clients don't want the same content. Of course, they're going to want to tap into that type of resource and information. But the point is, because I got my Mighty Crusaders that I want to support, those people are seeing the impact that I'm making with this group of people. They want in. Right. And that's really the point. When you're able to really niche down, I said this yesterday, the riches are in the niches, right? If you're able to niche down and really focus on the audience that you want to serve, people are going to see the wins, right? People are going to see that you're making wins on your behalf, but also on the behalf of others. They're going to want in, right? And that's how you're going to start to expand your audience more and more, to the point that you're just impacting people on an everyday basis. I can't tell you how many events I go to and people walk up to me and say, Christine, I follow you on LinkedIn. Or Christine, I've been to one of your summits. Christine, I've seen you, on the radio TV talk about this, that, or third. I've had people, I know what that feels like to be in a public setting and have someone walk up to you and say, what you did changed my life, changed my perspective, rocked my world. I mean, I had people come up to me with tears in their eyes because something that I did, said, or worked on in the past that really served them well. So that's the place you want to get to. And you can only get to that point if you really think through, who do you want to serve? What do you want to give them? And what is pissing you off so much in your core that makes you want to do this? Clearly, I do not like how our entrepreneurs are being supported on the internet right now. I think too many people are giving, like I said, BS and not really true thought leadership to entrepreneurs, corporate professionals who are really trying to build a very unique lifestyle. And so I want to be able to contribute to that conversation. And so with that said, by doing that value statement puts you in a place where you are now positioning yourself to add value to others. And what happens is people tend to say, well, other people are, giving thought leadership on this topic. No one gives a damn, right? People are buying into you, your path, your journey, your unique swag, your unique character, your unique way of doing things, right? So that story that driven you to this position where this is what you want to do. Clearly, I've been through a lot as an entrepreneur. So that's my story and journey that's driven me to want to do this. And so now my cadence, my, way of expression, my energy has created a value signature where people know, if you want to work with Christine, this is what you're going to get, right? How I deliver my content, how I deliver my message, how I deliver my advice, right? No matter what format it is, video, audio, written form, it has a certain cadence that makes me unique. So people are buying into me and the vision that I want to bring to the world and the way I'm doing it. Right. So that is the personal brand DNA that we went over yesterday. Right. And so I showed you visuals of how I translate that practical exercise into my everyday work, right? How I translate it into my LinkedIn profile, how I translate it to my website. You can see I consistently make it very clear who I serve, what I do, so that way people know if they want to work with me on an individual basis or on a institutional basis, how they can tap into the work that I did. Right. And obviously we, leverage the worksheet. Now, many of you have your workbooks that was given to you prior to this program, DM and comment workbook. If you still haven't received your workbook, the team will respond to you and give you access. But this is a really great exercise for you to download off your head all your work experiences, your top 3 to 5 ones, your top lived experiences, and the things that people always ask you for, and find the sweet spot in between each one of these areas in your life where expertise is flowing out of you for you to be able to go out there to market and be able to provide value to others, right? And obviously, doing this process is not easy, right? And I always tell people, I'm telling you everything you need to know, but if you need help execute on this, this is where the Personal Brand Accelerator program will be a great opportunity for you, because I host all my accelerator programs live because I love doing virtual coaching and helping people get from point A to point B. So if you are interested in having me help you to actually execute on building out your bio, building out your website, building out your thought leadership, building out your content strategy, building out your product plan launch strategy, speaking engagements, everything that it takes to really build a brand and monetizing it within weeks, I can help you to do that through the Personal Brand Accelerator program. And you'll hear more about that later on. So going from knowledge to execution there. All right. So for today, this is what we're going to cover. So today we're going to talk about content, how we can turn your content into cash flow. I know at this point, many of you are tired of hearing about content because everyone talks about content, right? Everyone talks about digital creators. And some of it, is centered around scams. Some of it is centered around, influencers, bombarding the market. Some of us are just overwhelmed and tired and confused. And then you have this whole situation where thanks to, platforms like ChatGPT and artificial intelligence, over the past 2 years, we have seen a rise of just random content on the internet, to be honest with you. That's not really helpful. That's not very useful. It seems like we have been over-consumed with generic bots taking over the internet. So authentic leadership, authentic conversations are no longer taking place, which is very sad, right? And so where you want to stand out is, how do you create content that stands out? And how do you create content that ultimately not only helps you attract your tribe, but becomes cash flow opportunities? And I'm going to dive into that today, along with sharing with you a simple content calendar that you could do to really build out your audience. All right. And I want to take it back to this slide that we covered yesterday, where I talked about, the first step is your value positioning statement. Who do you want to serve and why? Right. And really leveraging step 2, which is your personal brand DNA. Don't try to copy other people. Be yourself in whatever format that is, because people are not buying just your content. They're buying you. And I want to clarify that, because I think too many people on the internet always say, what's your differentiating factor in your content? And listen, it's important to have really good thought leadership that makes you stand out. I have a lot of great thought leadership and frameworks and systems and processes that I cover in my Personal Brand Accelerator program that really blows people's minds. They're just like, wow, this is great insight. I never knew that there was a simple way to launch a course, launch a business, launch a speaking career. Like Christine, this blueprint is very, very simple. However, people are really buying your cadence, because people want to buy from people that they can relate to. That's the secret. That's the Personal Brand DNA. So for those of you who have imposter syndrome, where you feel like you're not really ready to build your personal brand, scale your personal brand, and start charging for your thought leadership, you really are doing a disservice, only because if you are, for example, a meek little girl who's shy and quiet, but you are a great expert at farming tomatoes, there's another meek, shy little girl who wants to learn how to farm tomatoes, and they cannot find a single person that looks like you, that engages like you, that talk like you, to connect with, to learn from, so they can feel comfortable, because people want to feel comfortable and trust who they are learning from. So for many of you, you might love my content, but you might not like how I deliver it. So we won't be able to work together. It's okay. At least I'm adding value in your life. But for many of you, like, yo, this girl is kick ass. Like, she is about business, and she's about execution. I need that in my life. I like how she goes about it. I want to be around that. Some people like, no, I want a girl who's laid back with how she's teaching, right? So you got to understand that people are buying comfort. They're buying your character. They're buying your journey. They're buying your unique style. And yes, you are unique. There are 8+ billion people on the planet. We each have a unique thumbprint for a reason. You may have people who look and smell and think like you, but no one is going to be actually you. So this is very, very crucial when it comes to you being confident, going out there in the digital space, sharing your thought leadership, sharing your perspective in a way that you feel comfortable, so people can want to listen to your webinars where you're training about a certain subject matter, go to your boot camp so they can get a really immediate results, listen to you on YouTube, read your newsletters, watch your social posts, and be with you during a live event. Because once people are able to visibly be excited for the thought leadership that you share for free on a regular basis, then they're going to pay you to do more. And for me, my system, my structure is I love teaching. So obviously I do webinars, I do lives like this. But when people want to pay me to work with me, I don't just teach them again. I do execution with them, right? Because I like getting things done. So all my consulting, coaching courses and conferences and programs are all about execution experiences, right? We're all about getting shit done. And that's what we do during these programs, right? So these are the things that, you need to simplify in your mind. That's not rocket science when it comes to building a strong personal brand. Is really going through the steps of know who you want to serve, being confident in who you are, and going to market with that thought leadership, so that when people say, okay, I'm in, I want to work with you. All right. So with that said, let's dive into content and what would that look like? And I want to dispel some myths, because this is where I want to get into the heart of the matter to really show you how to actually do this. Because again, my approach of doing things is a little bit different, because I tend to think of it in everyday terms, right? I don't like using just jargon and terminologies. I like to make it simple in your mind, so you can understand how much many of you are overcomplicating this every single day when it comes to personal branding. Let's walk back to the value statement, right? Your value statement is like, look, for me, I help women monetize their expertise online so they can live a flexible lifestyle. That is my North Star promise, right? That is, my guiding principle. Anything that I do in the digital space is really driven to be able to add to that promise that I want to deliver on, right? And my personal branding name, what makes me uniquely qualified to do this is not just my certificates, my education, is the fact that I'm a Black woman, I'm a mother, a wife who have done it for several years. And that I'm bold, I'm vulnerable, I'm authentic, I'm energetic. That is who I am. And that's how I deliver information, right? So that's the me and the value, right? Now, here's what a lot of other people will tell you. They will tell you to do option one. Do trending related content, right? So do the quotes, do the photos, curate articles and post them, do the memes. Now, I'm not saying those things are wrong, right? But people are fatigued. Not every single person on the internet can share quotes and photos and articles before people get tired of just following anybody on the internet. It's kind of outdated. It doesn't work the same way anymore. What you need to be putting out there is what I call character content. Things about you that helps bring your character out, because essentially people want to follow your insights, your reactions. That's why reaction videos are doing really well. It's not like it's anything rocket science, but people want to see, how do you react to a funny video? How do you react to something crazy? Reaction videos are I'm not saying do reaction videos, but they want to get to know you, right? On top of the thought leadership, they need a little bit of twang to it, right? Behind the scenes, right? Photos of you in action doing the work that you do, and live events so they can learn from you. So that is the future way of content creation. That's all about bringing content to the world that reinforces and showcases your character for who you are. And at the end of the day, the end goal for anyone, when they see your content on social media or when they see your content on the internet, is like, people just want your perspective on the matter. So there's 100 different personal branding workshops that you guys can attend. Well, what does Christine think about personal branding, and how does she navigate her personal brand on a regular basis? She has built what people always say, Christine, you have built an international personal brand. You are everywhere. You're across continents, across departments, across industries. You work with governments, you work with corporates, you work with, NGOs. Like, how do you do that, right? So they want my perspective on the thought leadership of personal branding. So that's what you're giving to people. So stop being generic and sharing generic trending content, because you will do it for a while, it won't work, and then you're back at square one. Build a content library of your journey, of things that you are actually seeing. And you don't have to be right, because it's your opinion, it's your perspective, it's your insight. Those who agree or those who want to learn from you will follow it, right? And so, with that said, when you think about content creation, then from that perspective, when it comes to like character content, it's a lot easier to create content, because then when you think about, I help women monetize their expertise online by living a flexible lifestyle. That's who I serve. Then the conversations I want to have is like, what questions can I answer for them to help them get on that personal brand ladder, right? What conversation should I have, right? What mistakes or lessons should I share with these people, with these women, that I know will actually help them? And what can I actually share with them that will help them? I know I've made a lot of mistakes in the beginning, like for example, prioritizing a website and not prioritizing LinkedIn. Can I say that on a social media post? Guys, just FYI, the LinkedIn is now more important than the website. And people will debate me on it, like, no, da, 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 but the point is, I'm giving my perspective on personal branding, and this is one of the things I want to put my stake and claim on, right? This makes it easier for you to create content, because now you're coming at it from a perspective that, oh, what do I create? No, you're not creating anything. You're just pushing, you're in flow now, right? That's what you want to get to the point where you're in flow in sharing information and thought leadership, because it's almost like having many and long conversations on the internet. That's all. That's it. Very simple. And that North Star value statement keeps you grounded on the right and very systemized conversations. I'm not going to be talking about how to, get on a farm, how to, launch a fashion line. No, my North Star is very focused on my value statement and how to create that content, right? So with that said, going back to this slide that we already just talked about, you want to get to the point where you're binge worthy, where people are always excited to come back to your channel, which is your social media page, right? If someone tunes into your channel, right, why should they stay fixated on it? Why should they follow you? Why should they engage with you? What are you doing on a regular basis that should make them tune in every day, every week, every month, right, into your brand? Right? These are the things that you want to think of. So that's why there's a lot of people, when they post on the internet, they're like what we call one-hit wonders, where they post something and they out. They post something and then they're out. Post something and we don't hear from them again. And now they wonder why we're confused. And they're saying they're an expert. I'm like, how? Where? You didn't say anything, right? But if you are someone who's consistent in some shape or form, right? Now it's like, yo, this is a sequel. This is a series, right? I could follow this person over the course of several weeks and know that something else is going to come. Oh, the season is over. Maybe, she took a break for 2 weeks and she said that. Now she's back, with the next season, right? That's what you want to get to, where people can follow you consistently. You have become binge worthy. We are in the age of Netflix, where binge worthy content starts with you being able to put it out there and creating a library of conversations that are happening on the internet in the form of webinars, boot camps, YouTube videos, whatever floats your fancy. You're making it easy and accessible for people to be able to find that, right? So once you are in alignment with that reality that, content is not about chasing all the trends and doing all the things, you start to really ask yourself the questions that will serve the audience that you want to support. And then you're going to make a decision and say, like, okay, well, what station do I want people to find me as, right? So when you go on a radio station, the person that the host that you want to engage with, they're not on multiple channels, they're on one dominant channel. People might repurpose their content in other places, but you still turn into one thing. And it's important that people have one place to find you, so they're not confused trying to find consistent information about you all over the internet. Again, people are overwhelmed and confused very easily. A confused mind doesn't make good decisions, right? So for those of you who are trying to monetize your brand, this is the reason why you are not able to do it, because people are running all around in circles trying to find you and can't get access to what you're doing. So if you are making a decision to create content on one single platform, everything is distribution, but one platform is where you show up, and you consistently tell that to people. Find me on LinkedIn, find me on LinkedIn, find me on LinkedIn, or find me on YouTube, find me on YouTube, find me on YouTube. It makes it a lot easier for people to be able to say, okay, now I can really tap into this person, because I know there's one place, one channel I could tune into to be able to tap into this person. Everything else will be redistribution of your content. So for me, My primary focus is on LinkedIn, where I have close to 40 something thousand followers and close to about 15,000 followers on Facebook. Now, I always tell people try to prioritize one and have a second one as insurance, because social media algorithms, you never know when something will happen to your page. And so it's always good to have a backup plan. So my backup plan is Facebook. Everything else, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, is really just redistribution, right? YouTube is very unique because I teach on YouTube, so it makes sense that it has its own unique quality. But the point is, on a regular basis, people can find me on LinkedIn, and a number two is Facebook. So what is that strategy for you? And keep in mind, it's not about having a lot of followers. It's about being present and engage on those pages so people could be able to follow you properly. And my number one platform, hands down, that I think everyone should prioritize is LinkedIn, right? Because all matters of institutional clients, individual clients are accessible on LinkedIn seamlessly, right? And I have shared a lot about how LinkedIn has helped my career. I've shared how I've gotten speaking engagements on LinkedIn, clients, media features, book deal offers. I'm going to be launching a book next year, so stay tuned. Awards, partnerships, venture opportunities. I've launched multiple brands on LinkedIn, right? I'm able to meet new people every day. When I have new followers come on my page, I'm like, oh, who's this person? Where did they come from? How did they find me? It's very, very interesting. How people are able to really find me and engage with me on LinkedIn is really, really cool how that works out. So I always say that, like, LinkedIn will give you so much credibility. It gives you SEO visibility. It helps you target your leads, people that you want to engage with. It helps you see what your competitors are doing to make sure that you're on the right track. It helps you host live conversations, right? It helps you even curate your community. It's like your public facing Rolodex of business cards. And it really makes it easy for you to build authority, for you to show authentic leadership. I'm live on LinkedIn right now. And anyone who wants to find information on personal branding, I am building that expertise through LinkedIn through this live video, right? So these are the things that LinkedIn provides. And I have a whole page in your workbook, okay, that talks about, let me see if I can find it here. That talks about, how to optimize your LinkedIn profile, because you'd be surprised. A lot of people don't know how to optimize their LinkedIn profile, right? Like, it's very, very important that you do that. So I have that checklist right here for you to be able to find that and be able to do that tonight immediately. It will take you probably, for some of you, it will take you 15 minutes. For some of you, it might take you an hour. But the point is, do this optimization checklist. I always get really great feedback on this checklist because it helps ground people on, okay, I don't know where to start. Very simple. Step one, step two, step three, to make sure that you have that ready to go. And I won't dive too much into why LinkedIn is great. I will say 3 quick tips, in addition to the checklist, is to make sure that your title has your value proposition, or at least the key phrases in one shape or form, that you're leveraging the cover page banner. I see a lot of people leave that blank. Don't do that. And that there's a call to action. So my call to action is book me to speak, because I'm a global speaker. So my call to action is very, very key. For people to be able to engage with me. The other thing that I have here is make sure that you are leveraging your about section. I have my bio and ways for people to email my team immediately. I don't make it hard for people to, email my team. I don't know why we got to this point on the internet where people make it very difficult for people to contact them. But the only thing that people don't have access to immediately is my personal, phone number, right? Other than that, my email is very easy for people to access, whether it's me directly or my team. So definitely make it easy for people to engage with you, and make sure that as you going live and creating credibility, that people are able to see. Again, people could go to my LinkedIn profile and see literally a library of lives and work that I'm doing across my different companies, across my work. And it helps when I look at that repertoire, I'm like, wow, like, you can really do your entire due diligence on me just through LinkedIn alone, right? And for those of you who want to get on the public speaker circuit, especially those who want to monetize their personal brand and turn it into a business, you got to create a company page for your personal brand. I've done it before, and it has been hugely amazing for getting contracts and consulting gigs, simply by just taking this one optimized step to show and showcase the work that I do and get booked for opportunities, right? So all of that is what I do with LinkedIn. So I'm happy that you guys are aware that LinkedIn is a very, very powerful tool. Don't sleep on it. Leverage it to the best of your capacity and move forward with that. So now I want to dive into, now that we clarified what character content look like, so you don't have to overthink this, right? And you understand using LinkedIn as a dominant platform to get your content out there. Let's talk about your content calendar, okay? 1 second. Because it's very important that, first off, I don't believe in burnout where you're overworking yourself, posting on a daily and getting really tired and not seeing results. I don't believe that you should be posting random content that's trending, like, quotes, media, and article curation out of nowhere. And I don't believe that you need to overcomplicate and talk about all the things. I do think that you could be very simple and just keep a consistency. It doesn't have to be daily, but you have to have a consistent way of sharing your perspective on things on social media. So let's dive in what that looked like. Starting with, again, your value statement, the service you want to provide. You gotta, again, make some decisions about how you want to show up online, right? And I have this exercise where I go through this with my cohort and the Personal Brand Accelerator, where we help them figure out what is their biggest strength in terms of format and tap into that. So obviously for me, written, video, audio, out of all three of those options, video is something that comes easy to me. So I will always create content in a video format and then maybe have it transcribed for written format. Even though I'm a great writer, I'm great at copy, video just comes very easy for me, right? For those of you who are thinking about frequency, some of you may not be able to do the daily grind, right? But some of you, weekly is really great. And keep in mind, there's a statistic that people need to be able to have at least 8 different touch points with you before they can feel confident enough to work with you long term, i.e. pay for a service from you. So the longer your frequency, the longer it will take for you to monetize. So that's the reason why those who do daily content are able to monetize a lot faster, because they're on the hearts and minds of people a lot more on a lot more frequency basis, right? And so with that said, how do you want to monetize that visibility? You got to pick the medium that works for you. So for me, it's webinars and courses. For other people, it might be a podcast. For someone else, it might be a workshop or coaching one-on-one. You got to pick the medium that you want to use to monetize that visibility and that content creation. So once you make those decisions, right, you can see my example here where I clearly tell people that I have my webinar Wednesdays that they could tap into and engage with me on a regular basis, and me bringing it back to my value position statement to really find the right audiences to give that thought leadership. Here's where we're going to go into the 3-step plan to create content in a very simple way. I do want to share the first link to, 1 second, the template that we're going to be using, because we are going to be workshopping through. I told you guys I'm going to give you templates during this series, so that way you could be able to work on this as we're doing it, right? So let's take a look at this template live for content. Okay, you guys could see it on the social feeds right now, right? Click on it, you'll be able to access the Word document. And that Word document is going to be what we're going to use to be able to work through this part of the program. So click on it and let's work on it right now. So the first step of creating character content, right, is, as stated before, you start with your value statement. Who do you serve? I help women entrepreneurs monetize their personal brand. Okay, that is your North Star. That is where you want to start. You have to have a credibility statement. This is for you internally. Like, remember I told you have to be confident in the subject matter in order for you to be able to get paid for it, right? So why do I feel like this is my value statement? Well, because I've monetized my personal brand in the last 14 years. And I feel very confident about that. And I've taught other people how to do that, right? So even if you haven't taught anyone how to do this yet, if you have done it yourself and it's created great results for you, you are ready to give that thought leadership. So with that said, if that is my credibility, that I have done it myself, then how did I do this, right? If I'm saying want to help women, entrepreneurs monetize their personal brand, and I'm saying that I've done it myself, well, how have I done it? Well, I'm like, oh, well, I've done it several times in different ways. Well, I've monetized my personal brand through speaking engagements. I've monetized my personal brand through live events, through courses, through conferences, webinars. And you start to see, wow, like I already know, you already know your stuff. You start to see the layout of all the things that you've done in the past to give you that credibility statement that you want to express to yourself, right? And so Here's where the content comes in, because you could do content spinoffs off of all of that. Just looking at number one, speaking engagements, I could do a 4-part series of how to get booked as a public speaker. Or I could have one session where how to, find speaking engagements through LinkedIn, how to find speaking engagements through Eventbrite, how to get booked for speaking engagements, what you need to pitch event organizers, the email scripts you need to pitch event organizers to get booked for your next speaking engagement within the next 30 days. I can fire it out, right? I can read just boom, 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 because I do it on a regular basis. I get booked to speak all over the world all the time, right? So I could just flow, right? You need to flow that way, where it's not like pulling teeth to talk about it, right? And keep in mind, I could talk about all 10 different ways to generate sales on your personal brand. But just one example, I could go on for miles and miles and miles and miles to talk about it, right? So going to step 2 now, once you pick that, let's say I choose to focus simply on creating content around speaking engagements, how to do speaking engagements. I have several things I could do in 3 months. I could do 30 social media posts about things I regret doing, kicking off my speaker career, which I'm launching, by the way, next week, right? 1, it could be like, not negotiating my contract on the first email. Or 2, not creating a website early on. Or 3, not having a speaker proposal, which is why I always kept doing free gigs, right? Oh my God, I could go on right now, right? 30 different social media posts, just saying my top regrets, right? And the call to action, sign up for my newsletter, because I'm going to be launching a guide, putting this all together for you. Done. Simple. Ooh. Who wouldn't want that? If someone's trying to launch their speaker career, they're gonna want it. They're gonna want to watch your evolution, talk about this, and they're gonna want that PDF guide of everything. Comment PDF if you want to have access to that. So maybe I'll be able to get you access to that as well, right? I could also do a free 4-part webinar series in 1 month, where every single week I come on live every single Wednesday and talk about public speaking and how to get booked. I've done it before and it's worked really, really well, right? I can also do something like what I'm doing right now, a free 5-day series on public speaking, and teach people how to get booked. Do you see all the different things you could do within the next couple of weeks to just create brand visibility, but also to be able to serve the audience that you want to serve? And then, because you're giving such thought leadership, for those of the people who are watching it and like, oh, this is really great information, do you help people actually execute on this? Yes. Come through my workshop. I'll help you do it. Come to my course. I do it live, right? You see how that translates very simply? It's not rocket science. It's very, very simple to do this, right? So before I get into the content calendar, I want to pull up here. 1 second. I want to pull up our worksheets so you can see exactly what I'm saying here. Okay, so here's the worksheet, if you guys can see it here, all right, of the personal brand live lab, the template, and this is what we're going to work on. So if you see here, we have the date, right, today, because you want to make sure this is time sensitive information, because you will be updating this sometimes every 6 months or so. Your name, and then we start with what we did yesterday. So some of you did really well. You already sent me your value statement in the chat feed yesterday, so you copy and paste it here. Okay, I help who to do what because of why, right? And then the credibility statement for me, I help women entrepreneurs monetize their personal brands online. So here in the credibility statement, I would say the reason why I feel confident about serving that audience is because I've been doing it myself for the past 14 years, right? So if I really have that credibility and I believe in that credibility, where did I do it? Where's the proof? Well, I've monetized through speaking engagements. I've monetized through courses, through conferences, through webinars, through workshops, and it goes on and on and on. And once I state all those different formats, then I'm going to build a plan on how I want to share that journey and thought leadership on social and on the internet. And so I could do, a webinar series. I could do a 5-day training. I could do some social media posts. And the call to action is really, I'm not selling anything, by the way, right? Don't do that. Sign up for more information, sign up for the webinar. By the time you've done 2 or 3 of these different like free type of sessions teaching this, you will have accumulated at least 100 people, right, on an email list following the content that you're doing. And that's when you're able to convert them for a workshop, for a course, for a way to work with you beyond learning, but in an execution format capacity. Okay. And that is it. So that is the first template that I'm sharing with you all to be able to do that. Okay. So let's go back to the slides. 1 second. So that is that. And so in terms of putting it on a content calendar, we'll share this with you as well. For those who are registered, you'll get access to a spreadsheet where you can have this content calendar to be able to copy and paste and do it. You pick the times of the week that you want to do this. So if you see the color coordination, some days are for webinars, some days are for campaigns, some days are for video clips of me in action. I've gotten to a point where my brand is really complex because I'm working with international brands, but yours don't have to be that complicated. You could just see, you see right here, very simple things where every single day you could do a social media post, an update behind the scenes, your thought leadership, whatever it is that makes it easier for you, and the call to actions for people to sign up for your newsletter or to sign up for a live event where you're teaching this content, right? And I'll end this by saying that for those of you who's okay, this is great to do the posting strategy, but how do I maximize visibility? How do I make sure that I'm able to get seen, for opportunities, right? And quite frankly, this is the secret. It's very, very easy. First, you need to have the right hashtags, right? Have the right hashtags. Look what your competitors do and copy and paste their hashtags so people can search based on hashtags. You do need to share on groups on social media. I have done a lot of sharing on social groups, and you think it's not working, but it's getting visibility. And not in a spammy way, right? In a way that adds value. So I share on minimum 10 Facebook groups a day and a minimum of 10 LinkedIn groups a day, right? And I rotate seasonally. Sometimes, some seasons, parts of the year I don't do it. Some parts of the year I just comment on, these groups. And when I'm in season, then I, share these things. But you do have to share on social groups because it gives you access to more visibility. You do have to DM your followers and invite them to come and have a conversation with you through your live sessions, right? A lot of you have followers and you have never engaged them in any capacity. You need to start doing that for sure. And probably one of the most best kept secrets that a lot of people know, you need to comment on the post of your ideal client. So if there's if I'm trying to serve Black women, I need to be commenting on different Black women on their posts so they could be able to not only see my engagement, what I'm doing, but for me to be able to add value to them. And the goal is converting all of these activities to your email list. And you don't have to be perfect, but the point is you just need to be frequent. And for those of you who are, okay, what do I post on the social media groups? What do I say? How do I go about it? How do I share thought leadership? I got a template for you as well. I'm going to share with you the second template. That's going to be very useful for you today to be able to do this, okay? And I'm also going to share that link on the chat feed as well. 1 second. Okay, there we go. Make sure you guys see that, right? So here we are. If you want to post on social groups, do not post flyers. It doesn't really work. It's usually easier if it's a picture of you, if it's an introduction, because people want to connect with people. They don't want to connect with flyers. I've seen people get really spammy and just post different flyers. Yes, every once in a while you can post flyers, but it's so much better to post images of you or videos or just something that's very, very tangible and immediate. And so in some of the social media groups that you might be following, if you're not following any groups right now, sign up for them, and preferably sign up to at least 10 groups where your target audience is currently networking. So that way you can see what their issues are and be able to engage with them on a regular basis. So for me, I can say, hi everyone, my name is Christine and Tim, and I'm not going to say I'm the CEO of Global Starting because I help women, entrepreneurs monetize their personal brands online. Right? The value statement. So that way, someone wants that. They're going to want to read more. And I'm hosting a free webinar series on how to build your personal brand in 30 days starting on, August the 5th. And would love to have you guys join. Comment personal brand so I can send you the access link to the webinar and resources. And the reason why I didn't put the link, people tend to be turned off with links nowadays because so many people spam groups with links, but people do want to have conversations. So they could comment, you can reply to them and say, yes, I'll DM you. But by the way, I looked at your profile. I love what you're doing, right? It really is a great conversation starter. And I do hashtags and I use a photo. That is your simple template, copy and paste you could use right now. And please adjust it. Don't just copy verbatim. Make it really your style, right? And post to a couple groups that you want to add value and actually go live. Even if it's 2 people that show up, still do it. And then you can share the recording to the group later on. Like, hey guys, I went live. Here's a replay, right? DM, you do need to DM your followership, right? And one thing that I do with my followership every once in a while is like, hey, you there. It's so awesome to be connected. As you know, again, repeat that value statement because sometimes in order for people to understand the work that you do, you got to repeat it like a million times, right? So even those who follow me, I got to reiterate that too. And so as you know, I help women entrepreneurs monetize their personal brands online. Are you still working on your personal brand? Or are you interested in trying to monetize your personal brand this year, this summer, right? Make it time sensitive, right? If so, I would love to help. You could join me on August 25th, where I'll be hosting a free webinar series on personal branding in 30 days. And I can answer any questions live on that event, or you can just DM me back right here and we can have a conversation and see where there could be a bit fit, right? Again, you're not selling them anything. You're not posting that. And this one, you would post the link, right? Because they can't comment on anything. It's a private message. This one, you can do the link and have that conversation, right? So these are two very powerful templates, right? That I use on a regular basis, right? Me and my team go out there, find a target audience, DM template, and social media. I'm sharing that right now, right? For you to be able to engage with your audience and add value to them. It's really, really good to do that. Okay. So I'm going to now go back to the slides, right? So today, at least you now have the format that you could use to start creating content that really converts. And again, it's not what you typically will hear, right? But it's so more organic for you as an individual, but also the person watching it, where it doesn't feel like forced content that you post on your page, right? It feels like, wow, she really gets us. She's saying the things. Yeah, I have that concern too. I needed that too. It's really great. So you're not running around trying to create PDFs and guides. Yes, that there's another conversation for that tomorrow regarding how to create free lead magnets to convert and create an email list. But this is all about getting visibility and adding value in a way that's organic and simple. And for those of you who've like, oh, well, I don't have the time. Yes, you do. Right. And the strategy I will tell you that makes this happen is what I call the daily hour. Okay. I have been doing this consistently at least 3 to 5 times a week, right? When I'm not doing, my virtual assistant is doing, because I do sometimes want to get in the mix and really engage with people myself so I can see what they're into. But you just need 15 minutes to post on your page, right? What you're doing when you're posting on your page, you're nurturing the people who are following you with updates. 15 minutes to DM your following, right? So DM at least 10 people a day, right? It can be the same thing, 10 people that you're following up, because now there's some form of engagement with 10 new people every single day, right? Again, that's nurturing your audience. They already taken the step to follow you. Give them some love, right? 15 minutes to share on groups. This is where you're just trying to grow your audience, right? So you're trying to go to different groups to find your tribe and invite them to the work that you do. 15 minutes to comment on other places on the internet where you find your audience. Again, that's growth. You're creating engagement for that target client, and they want to now follow the work that you do. And then after this 30 to 45 minutes of just doing that, because this is already like 60 minutes, right, of just actual work. Keep in mind, you might have days where maybe you're not doing the DMs or the post and the share, but you're just engaging back, because sometimes you'll get immediate feedback, and that feedback can lead to conversion. I've had that happen time again where I've had sales simply because of this strategy immediately, right? Sales into my workshops, into my courses, into like a coaching session. So 15 minutes to engage if there's an immediate feedback, so that way you're engaging with people and really creating conversion at that point. Okay. So with that said, if all of that sound really amazing, but just like, okay, I need someone to help me do this on a regular basis before I get used to it. This is another reason why I'm so excited about the Personal Brand Accelerator program, is because what I do during this session series is what I'm teaching you today requires execution. Okay. Like, how many of you know that you got to execute to see any type of progress with your personal brand? Give me a comment. Execution. If you know that, okay, you can know what to do, but until you actually do it, you're not going to see any progress. Comment execution if you know you got to do the work and put it out there. And for those of you, thank you. I see the DMs come in. For those of you who understand that, Where people get stuck all the time is that, okay, they know what to do, but they need someone to help them do it. So a lot of my work, thank you guys, right? A lot of my work is really helping people to execute. It's so crazy, right? So my programs, I'm not just reteaching you the things. No, listen, let's go to work. Let's actually copy and paste. Let's go on your social media feed. Let's do this right now, right? And we sit there and we do it together, right? Let's find your target audience. Who are you following? What groups are you a part of? Let's do that work together, right? And that is the work that we do. I call them execution workshops, right? And in the personal brand accelerator, obviously I have a step-by-step process to help you go from, a personal brand to an international personal brand that's profitable and scaling and growing, like the one that I've created over the past couple of years. But we start with just really making sure that your personal brand collateral is up to par, where we're not really just focusing on just creating all the assets, but really making sure that your messaging is very crucial so you can attract the right audience. And in week 2, we talk about, okay, how do we build a strategy for content? So what we did today, we do that on Overdrive, where we start to create the content, where I help you create content for the entire year, literally in a couple of hours, right? Because you're able to find out, like, wow, I could, talk about this, I could talk about this. You start to ramble, you probably have multi-years of content, right? Because you have different ways of talking about your thought leadership topic because you're addressing a need in the market. Then we talk about how to monetize your personal brand over the course of 2 weeks. We take 2 weeks to do that because we start to create a product suite of different products you could create, and then I help you launch it. Right? So let's say you do a webinar workshop, a free webinar and a workshop as a paid brand. I help you do the webinar and launch it with a workshop to show you start to finish how to do that. We do test pilots within the program so you can learn and engage and come back. And some of you will make sales, some of you will fail. And then we will make sure that you get out there again and do it the right way so that way you're able to keep reiterating until you're generating sales, right? So that's all about launching your first product. And then over the last 2 weeks of the program, because this is about, as close to a 6-week program, we talk about, which is the ultimate culmination of the program. Some people say, okay, what's the outcome? What do we end up doing? I help you do a launch event to monetize your brand. So that way, even if you do it once a year, once a year, some people are able to generate 6 figures during a launch. Some people are saying hey, I'm cool with just, making a couple $1,000 off a launch. I help you do a launch event with your personal brand that you could do once a year, twice a year, 4 times a year, maybe once a quarter because you like the momentum that is building for you. We don't do once a month because we don't want people to be brand fatigued with you, right? But I see the best results when people really just try their best to do this on a regular basis, right? Minimum twice a year. I see really great results when people do that. And we walk you through launching your first event. So once you've done it through the program, you're able to do it over and over and over again. And I'll have people be able to come back and say, I did my launch event. I did my launch, and now people know me as an expert in this subject matter, and they want to work with me personally because of the work that I've done, right? And so again, I've done this throughout my career journey multiple times, and so this is the journey that I will take you during the live coaching program. And I do have, by the way, a very, very, very unique opportunity before I close out to share with you the last part of today's session. I do want to share that this is going to be the most simplest and most productive program that you'll ever be a part of working with me. And I do have a unique bonus. Again, I'm not doing bells and whistles with multiple flyers. I just want to get straight to the point. If you sign up to join me for the Personal Brand Accelerator today, in addition to this execution style workshops where I'm going to be live coaching you week on week to be able to execute, and those of you who've been a part of my cohorts before, you know that we workshop together till we get it done, right? If you want to go beyond that, I have a special bonus that expires tonight at 11:59 p.m. Eastern tonight, where in addition to the program, when the program is done in early October, that's not where we end. I'm going to stay with you every single month until the end of the year, where every month we're going to have monthly masterminds with time-sensitive strategy sessions to keep you going and building and monetize your personal brand. We're going to have weekly mastermind sessions where I'm going to help you with any type of details or challenges that you may be facing. We address them every single week, so you're really engaged with me close to 5 times a month till the end of the year. By the way, I've never done this before for any of my programs in this depth, but it's because I recognize that the end of the year is actually the best time to monetize your personal brand, because now we're going into November. November is when we have, Black Friday, holiday season, end of year. People want to end their year well. Like, literally, I've had the most successful monetization launches at the end of the year. It's crazy what happens at the end of the year. People are just like, similar to at the beginning of the year, people are on overdrive to not only find really great influencers to learn from, but to engage with, to learn, to get themselves prepared into the next year. So I will be with you until the end of 2024 to make sure that you are able to monetize your personal brand. For some of you, if you really take on this opportunity, not only will you live launch with me in September during the course of the Personal Brand Accelerator program, but I've seen people say like, look, I'm going to do this twice or three times. So they'll do it again in, let's say, early November, and they'll do it again last minute to close out the year in December. And they have 3 launches and they monetize all 3. Right? So that is the end result. I will teach you how to monetize your brand, shortcut through the daily activities. Of course, social media posting and do the webinars and workshops are important, but the live launch method of really getting your thought leadership out there in a condensed format to attract your ideal audience, go live, showcase your character and expertise, and monetize and convert that audience. It's literally the game industry standard. I will teach you how to do that, and you will actually do it. For some of you, you'll do it once, monetize and have the blueprint and keep repeating it into the next year. Some of you might even do 2-3 times during the course of the program, because with the bonus that expires tonight, again, I've never done this before, I'll be working with you every single month until the end of the year. How does that sound? Would that be something that you guys are really excited about? Give me an amen on the chat if you are excited to continue your journey of personal branding, where I can help you along the way to be able to execute and do this on a regular basis. All right. So if that sounds exciting to you, I will send the link on the comment for you guys to be able to sign up, because that opportunity does expire live tonight at 11:59. I'm not offering this again because it's a very intensive offer. I'm excited about it because it helps me be able to really help my supporters to be able to really launch it well. And that really excites me. But I can only do that for a certain number of people, right? And so this offer will expire tonight. So if you're interested in having me help you launch and monetize your personal brand, you could join tonight for that opportunity. And here's the link to be able to do that. So with that said, we went over a lot today. I know we're at the hour here of time, but for session 3 tomorrow, oh my God, this is going to be really great, because for those of you who book to be join this program tonight, you're going to be into a real treat tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm going to show you the method of live launching, right? Again, there's no gatekeep here. I will show you how to do it, how to actually launch and do a launch event. You're talking to someone who has done multiple events. Okay. I've hosted close to 300 events in my lifetime with my businesses. And so I will tell you exactly step by step how to do a launch event, how to find the ideal audience, and go live and create a very sustainable business plan to monetize and scale your personal brand, make it an international brand over the next couple of years and beyond. So this is going to be tomorrow, is the culmination finale, the last day of this series. And by far, we are going to learn how to create, launch, and manage a digital ecosystem for your personal brand. Tomorrow, you're not going to want to miss it. We're going to make sure that you are going to turn your content, your leadership, and your thought leadership and perspective into revenue, reliable revenue for the rest of your days. So with that said, thank you so much. Hopefully today was really exciting for you. You loved today. You learned a lot. And I was able to simplify your mindset around how to create content that converts into cash flow and that helps you find the right ideal audience. Tomorrow, as stated before, it's going to be a really phenomenal opportunity for you to be able to learn the method to get your brand out there. And of course, I want to send this back on the screen again. You have until tonight to be able to book to have access to this accelerate program, not only at the early bird rate, but to be able to have access to me until the end of the year, which is a phenomenal opportunity for many of you if you've never had that before. All right. So with that said, I'm going to look at the comments for any questions and reply back. Our team is really excited to welcome many of you tonight. I think we just got a notification one of you booked, which is great, right? We're going to continue having that conversation forward. That's really good. Okay. Thank you. I'm not going to shout out names because I don't know if someone wants to be shouted out, but I'm really excited to work with many of you beyond today. So thank you. I've seen a lot of amens that people really enjoyed today. People learned a lot. I'm really happy to see that. Really glad to see that, today was very, very helpful. And this is all, again, about personal branding, how to really create a brand of purpose and really make it profitable. And this is the blueprint to be able to do that in a simple way, start with your content. So with that said, I'm looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. See you same time, same place for the finale of this series. We're going to go live tomorrow, same time, same place. And let's get it kicking. I can't wait to, again, welcome many of you tonight. Before the deadline, don't wait till the last minute. There's always technical glitches. Don't be that person. If you want access to me doing execution workshops with you till the end of the year, it's almost like a 5-month program at that point. Let's do this. Let's engage. I look forward to seeing you on the other side of the program. See you soon, everyone. Bye-bye. Welcome, everyone, to the Personal Brand Accelerator program. We're going to talk about really the who, what, when, where, how of personal branding. Personal branding, in many ways, is an ongoing process, right? Because you are practicing, you're developing, you're manifesting yourself over time as you grow and develop as a person within your career. Today, we're transitioning from the personal branding fundamentals to now building your personal branding foundation, right? You can't position yourself for opportunity unless you understand your motivations and what is your capacity. Now, at the very beginning, you should always be experimenting with your brand and engaging with the world, just trying to find out, okay, what experiments do you need to run to see where you need to be. There are a million different ways to make money with your personal brand, but you either got to do what is your biggest strength right now, right? Or you do where the most resources are available. A lot of people, when they're trying to monetize their personal brand, they focus on bucket 4 and 5. Right? Where they're working with people to get speaking engagements, contracts. You're doing a lot of external activities to get that clout from the community to pay you for certain works. A lot of times people confuse marketing and sales to be the same thing, right? This is the reason why a lot of people, they have a personal brand. Let's say they got as far as they create a free or paid product like a course or a retreat or a session, and they're putting it out there. They're quote unquote marketing it. They're promoting it. They're blasting it, but they're not monetizing. They're not making money. And part of the reason why is because they did not combine their marketing strategy with their sales strategy. But I could give you all the systems all day long, but it's up to you to turn it into a routine. And that does require checklists. It does require you really having the discipline to execute on that routine. So much has happened over the past couple of weeks. You have learned so much from start to finish. The best way I could end this is by saying that, look, like a lot of people wait their entire life to try to figure this out. You have the unique opportunity where you have this content for life, right? You have this journey for life where you are now given a blueprint to constantly keep upping your brand, keep accelerating your career, keep creating value, and also creating multiple streams of income for yourself in addition to any of the fundamental work that you do.